establish universal social protection around the world. Thank you.
Ladies and gentlemen, that concludes the opening session, and we immediately move to the next session that will be moderated by Mr. Benjamin Davis from the FAO. Thank you very much indeed.
So before we start the next session, we are going to watch a small movie on universal social protection so that we all better understand what it means concretely. So if you could, again, take your seat. So if you could if you could remain seated, please, because we are going to start again the conference. So we will watch a video on universal social protection so that we have all a better concrete idea of what it is. And second, if you are making pictures of the different sessions, and if you want to post them on the social networks, could you please use the #USP 2030 so that we can really make a lot of noise today, collectively, on universal social protection? That would be great. Thank you. Second announcement, we are doing the live streaming of this major conference so that all our friends who could not come today can also participate in this conference. However, we have some technical problems because many of you are using Wi-Fi, etc. So we have a problem with the bandwidth. Sorry for that. So if you could stop downloading huge documents, videos, etc., like that we can really ensure that the live streaming is functioning properly. Now we are going to watch this video, and then we will give the floor to the next panelist, moderated by our friend from FAO. Thank you.
The consequences of such a loss can be devastating. People may require protection for many reasons. They might not earn enough, or they might have an illness or disability. Children may go hungry or miss school if their families cannot pay for food or education. Young people may struggle to improve their skills or to find a job. Women may face discrimination or lack adequate support when they get pregnant. Older people may be unable to support themselves through their pensions. Universal social protection protects all people against poverty and risks to their livelihoods and well-being throughout their lives. It also guarantees access to health services. This goal, to protect all people throughout their lives against poverty and risks to their livelihoods and well-being, is known as Universal Social Protection, or USP. In any given country, this protection can be provided through a range of mechanisms. These include non-contributory schemes, such as social assistance or other cash or in-kind transfers, usually financed by government budgets. They also include contributory schemes, such as social insurance. And they include interventions that improve access to employment and skills, such as employment guarantee schemes. But what does universal mean? It means that all people who need social protection can access it and claim their human right. It means covering all of the risks that endanger their livelihoods or well-being. It also means programs are coordinated and harmonized as part of a social protection system which makes them sustainable and affordable. And it means people have access to benefits and services as and when needed. Finally, it requires information management to be integrated and administration of benefits to be transparent and efficient. This is the basis for equitable access. Some countries may not be able to realize USP at once, but they can do it gradually by covering more people with higher benefits and for more risks. Throughout this process, governments, together with their social partners, civil society, and the private sector, should adapt their systems to the needs of their people and continue to adjust it to ensure adequate coverage, also in times of shocks. Universal social protection aims to make the human right to social protection reality. It is also key to achieving many goals of the 2030 Agenda for Sustainable Development adopted by countries. If we achieve universal social protection in every country, we can be the first generation to end extreme poverty and excessive inequality. Providing every person with the protection they need leads to greater equity, productivity, and better social and economic inclusion. The Global Partnership for Universal Social Protection brings together countries committed to achieving USP and to mobilizing support of international organizations, development partners, civil society, and the private sector. To achieve universal social protection by 2030, we have no time to waste. The clock is ticking. History is made by our achievements. Poverty and risks to livelihoods and well-being don't discriminate. Anyone could face them at any time. Universal social protection makes sure that whoever we are, wherever we're from, we are protected. Welcome to USP 2030.
Okay. Good morning. My name is Benjamin Davis. I'm the leader of the strategic program on rural poverty reduction at the Food and Agricultural Organization of the United Nations. And I just want to thank the organizers for the opportunity to be here today. It's quite an honor to participate in this conference and to be joined by this distinguished group of policymakers and practitioners, champions for social protection, for universal social protection. Let me introduce them briefly. First, we have Ms. Cecilia Mbaka, who's the head of the National Social Protection Secretariat, the State Department of Social Protection in Kenya. Next, we have the Honorable Susan Shabangu, who's the Minister of Social Development from South Africa. We also have, to my left, Mr. Gombo Suren Unubayar, who's the State Secretary of the Ministry of Labor and Social Protection of Mongolia. And finally, we have Ms. Maha Mezruli, the Senior Economist from the Ministry of Social Affairs. So how will this session work? I'll give a brief introduction to the session. Then we'll have a panel format, and so I have some questions for each of the panelists, and then if there's time, we'll open it up for broader discussion and for questions if all of you have comments or questions you'd like to make. First, it's a matter of rights, of justice. Punto. Social and cultural rights. Effective access to protection is essential to fill many of the other rights, including the right to food, the right to education, and the right to health. Many national constitutions include the right to social protection, including two of the countries on the panel, South Africa and Kenya, and many countries have anchored social protection benefits in their national
for old age benefits, benefits for disability, and breadwinner loss. However, in real life, due to low and unstable income, as well as convenience to pay the premiums, the coverage of health in social insurance system is extremely low. Therefore, old age security for health is a priority of the government to prevent them from falling into poverty. We need to find solution, appropriate mechanism to enable their monthly contribution to the social insurance fund and thus to ensure their old age security. The government of Mongolia is taking some measures to improve and old age security for health. Since 2012, the government is implementing an important measure to improve old age income security of people who were not able to work during the transition period. More specifically, the gaps in pension contribution of those who were not working during 1999 and 2000 were subsidized by the government, and 20% of those who benefited from this measure were helpless. In addition, we are implementing a new policy to reduce the pension age of helpless by 5 years, considering the health condition of their labor. Furthermore, a new law will become effective from 2020, which will enable helpless and self-employed to pay once for their pension contributions to cover the period of 1995 to 2090, when they had to change their employment status or failed to be employed due to the nature of their occupation or work. On the other hand, our social protection policy for helpers aims to protect the livestock sector in the future. As the younger generation is not willing to become helpers, thus the number of helpers is likely to reduce significantly in the future. This has also a negative impact on the land that might become deserted and inhabited, especially remote rural areas currently occupied by nomad herders. Thank you.
Thank you very much for that. I think it's a good example of the importance of, or the challenges of extending social protection benefits to more isolated, difficult to reach rural areas, and benefits which are actually in tune and appropriate for the given livelihood of, in this particular case, and the characteristics of rural herders. If I can follow up with the next question, and that's what's interesting here is, how is the combination of contributory and non-contributory mechanisms, both social insurance and tax-funded benefits, facilitated this extension of coverage?
In Mongolia, 79% of economically active population, 59 of entities, and 6% of herders are covered by social insurance. Those citizens who are not eligible for pensions and benefits from the social insurance fund receive pension and benefits from social welfare fund. So the combination of contributory and non-contributory mechanism facilitate the full coverage of old age security for elderly. Mongolia has a generous system of tax-funded by social welfare benefits, including the recipient of child money program. The half of Mongolia population are beneficiaries of the social welfare services. If we look at a specific group of population, 70% of elderly, 18% of people with disabilities, 87% of children are benefiting from one or more social welfare measures. The current priority of the government is now to shift from welfare to employment by adding some conditionality to the social welfare programs for working age people. For instance, our Good Stamp program has now some conditions for working age people to actively search for jobs. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much. Next, I'd like to ask Ms. Iliambaka, why has Kenya decided to invest in developing a social protection system and move towards universal coverage? And what was the role of evidence in that process?
Thank you, Chair. As Kenya, we are very happy to be here to share with all of us our journey on social protection, which has been very exciting. And the reason why Kenya has decided to invest in social protection is because, to start with, we are obligated by various international, regional, and local obligations to design and implement social protection programs. Just moving straight to local, our Constitution is very clear on issues of social protection. In one of the articles, and that is Article 43 of our Constitution, it obligates the state to support people who cannot be able to support themselves and their families. In addition to that, Article 22 also allows citizens to institute court proceedings in case that right is violated. As a country, we also have our Vision 2030, which aims at providing a high quality of life for all citizens by the year 2030. And the goal of the social pillar is to build a just and cohesive society with social equity. And with those obligations then, as a country, we have started a number of social protection programs. And before I go to sharing with you the various social protection programs, I would like to share with you our high poverty levels by the time we were starting to roll out social protection programs. In 2005, Kenya's poverty levels were as high as 46%, and I will be telling you later where we are now. And since 2003, we rolled out the cash transfer for orphaned and vulnerable children. We have also gradually rolled out the older persons cash transfer program. And in the current year, last year, we rolled out the universal cover for older persons. We are also running a free maternal and child health. We've been running it since 2013 with a lot of impacts on it, as I'll be sharing with you. We're running school feeding programs in arid and semi-arid part of Kenya. And for those of you who do not know, half of Kenya is made up of arid and semi-arid lands, where the poverty levels in those countries are very poor. And so we have started school feeding programs to encourage children to go to school and to remain in school to be able to learn. We are also piloting the universal health cover. We are piloting it in about 5 counties, and hopefully rolling out in all parts of the country after 1 year, after we have learned experiences and we can be able to expand it. We're also running the free primary education, which we started in the year 2002, and bearing a very, with a lot of impact as we speak. We're also running social security programs and the health insurance program. And what I would want to say is that we're seeing a lot of impact on these programs. To start with, when we did our Kenya Integrated Household Budget Survey in 2005, as I said, and we did the last one in 2015, our poverty levels have dropped by 10%. We are now at 36%. And this is being attributed to some of the social protection programs that we have been running in the last couple of years. I would also want to say that with the CTOVC program, We have seen increased school enrollment, retention, and transition rates. This is evidenced by impact evaluations that we have done in the last couple of years. We are seeing improved nutrition and dietary diversity because of the cash transfer programs that we're giving to households with young children. We are seeing a reduction in child labor, and very many other benefits that are coming with these programs. With our free maternal and child health for children below 5 years of age, we are seeing more mothers giving birth in hospitals. In fact, in the urban areas, we are enrolling even up to 100% of mothers giving birth in hospitals, although this will vary in the rural areas because of the transport issues and the ignorance. But we can say that this has seen more mothers giving high in hospitals, and so the survival rates are actually quite high. Yes, thank you.
So in Kenya, in what direction will the country be going in the near future in terms of continuing to expand universal social protection?
As we think about expanding our social protection programs, moving forward, we would want to see more life cycle approach to our social protection programs. Already we are there. We are seeing programs covering expectant mothers. We have programs for children below 18 years of age. We have youth programs. For example, we are running a youth fund that enables young people to get very soft loans that they can be able to start businesses with. We are seeing programs for older persons, and so moving forward, we would want to strengthen the life cycle approach to social protection. In addition to that, we're moving towards universality. We have already started a universal program for older persons aged 70 years and above. We are also having a debate on progressively introducing a universal child grant that we shall be discussing in the next 3 days, those of us who will continue being here. Now, the other thing is that as we move forward, issues of sustainability are very key to us, because as we extend the programs, then we shall be requiring a lot of resources to be able to support these programs. And so we're lobbying the government to continue supporting social protection programs. Last year, we had an international conference on sustainable financing for social protection. I know some of you who are here participated in that conference. So it is a debate that we would really want to carry forward. Other than that, we have developed an investment plan towards the Vision 2030. It details the kind of programs that we would want to see either rolled out or expanded as we move towards the Vision 2030, and the kind of budgets that government will be requiring to be able to run those programs. So that every time we're not going to Treasury to tell them we need this money to do this and the other. We've already developed an investment plan so that the government is well prepared on the kind of resources that we shall be requiring moving forward. In addition to that, as we think about issues of sustainable financing, we have come up with a task force that is discussing how the government will continue raising resources to support the cash transfer programs. And as a country, we would, other than depending on the exchequer, we are trying to see how we can come up with very innovative ways of raising money for the cash transfer programs. And we're looking at how citizens can be able to contribute small amounts to save for their retirement in a very innovative way. I want to go into a lot of details on that because it is still under discussion. It has not been firmed up. But moving forward, we would want to see a situation where citizens contribute some small monies, which is topped up by the government, to be able to save for their retirement. In addition to that, we would want to see the government increase its levels of GDP towards social protection. Currently is about 1.5%, with cash transfers taking about 0% of the GDP. As we discuss the issues of sustainability, we would want to see the government continue to increase the GDP, to increase the levels of the GDP that is going towards the investment of social protection. And in our investment plan, we're looking at the government increasing this to about 2 to 3% of the GDP going towards social protection. Yeah. Thank you.
Great, no, thank you. My next question is for Ms. Maha Mesri. In Tunisia, has been very committed to extending social protection benefits and has achieved impressive results. What makes investments in social protection so important for Tunisia's economic and social development?
Merci, Monsieur le Président. Je voudrais tout d'abord vous faire part des salutations de Monsieur le ministre des Affaires sociales, Monsieur Mohamed Trabelsi, qui aurait dû être ici parmi vous lors de cette conférence, mais qui, pour des raisons d'engagement professionnel, n'a pas pu venir. Donc, je vous remercie pour votre question. Mais je vais vous donner un aperçu sur l'expérience tunisienne en matière d'universalisation de la protection sociale. Donc pour la Tunisie, le système de protection sociale repose sur un ensemble de programmes d'assistance sociale et un dispositif d'assurance sociale et a été bâti sur une approche progressive. Donc ainsi, la sécurité sociale en Tunisie remonte aux années 1898, année de la création de la première caisse de prévoyance pour les fonctionnaires tunisiens qui étaient chargés de la gestion du premier régime de retraite en Tunisie. Ensuite, en 1921, il y a eu la création du régime de réparation des préjudices résultant des accidents de travail. Le secteur de sécurité sociale a connu ainsi sa véritable lancée au cours des années 60, donc après l'indépendance, et il y a eu une extension progressive et continue de la couverture à toutes les catégories professionnelles. C'est ainsi qu'en 1959, il y a eu un régime de retraite pour le secteur public. En 1960, le régime général des salariés pour le secteur non agricole. Les étudiants en 65, le régime des pêcheurs 77, ainsi de suite. Actuellement, la sécurité sociale couvre tous les secteurs d'activité et le taux de couverture réelle est de 85%. Il est à noter que la couverture ne s'est pas limitée aux travailleurs résidents en Tunisie, elle s'est étendue également aux travailleurs résidant à l'étranger par le biais des conventions bilatérales de sécurité sociale et la mise en place d'un régime de couverture facultatif pour les Tunisiens travaillant dans les pays avec lesquels la Tunisie n'a pas de convention bilatérale de sécurité sociale. Au niveau des programmes de l'assistance sociale, nous avons un programme phare qui est le Programme national d'aide aux familles nécessiteuses qui a été créé en 1986 et qui consiste à accorder des aides, des transferts monétaires aux familles qui ont des revenus pauvres. Et un autre programme, institué en 1998, a consisté à mettre en place un système d'assurance médicale gratuite et à tarif réduit. Et ces deux programmes sont financés par le budget de l'État. Donc s'il est vrai que le système de protection sociale tunisien a joué depuis sa création un rôle indiscutable en matière de lutte contre la pauvreté et d'inclusion sociale, il a quand même montré ses limites, notamment au niveau de l'interaction et la complémentarité entre les différentes actions publiques en matière de protection sociale, due à une fragmentation entre les différents programmes et un manque de cohérence. Et donc, c'est dans ce cadre qu'aujourd'hui, tout un système de réforme de son système de protection sociale a été engagé par le pays. Il est à rappeler que l'adoption de la Constitution de 2014, dans son article 38, garantit le droit à la couverture sanitaire et sociale pour tous. Donc, ça a été une occasion pour entamer une réforme globale qui permettra d'améliorer la pertinence, l'efficacité et l'efficience du système de protection pour un développement global et inclusif. Donc, les principaux objectifs de cette réforme, c'est la réforme des régimes de sécurité sociale, le maintien des équilibres financiers des régimes, la réforme de la gouvernance des caisses de sécurité sociale, la réforme de l'assistance sociale et la garantie par l'État aux catégories vulnérables le droit d'accès aux soins d'un seuil minimum de revenus avec un meilleur ciblage des interventions en leur faveur, conformément à des normes objectives. Donc, tout un chantier a été mis en œuvre en matière de réforme, et l'objectif ultime étant de mettre en place un socle national de protection sociale conformément à la recommandation 202 adoptée par l'Organisation internationale du travail sur les socles nationaux de protection sociale en 2012. Donc, parmi les réformes que nous avons engagées réellement dans le sens de l'universalisation de la protection sociale, c'est le régime de la sécurité sociale et particulièrement le régime de retraite. Donc, il faut rappeler que le système tunisien, c'est un système lié à l'activité professionnelle. Et donc, il fonctionne selon le système de répartition. Et donc, son financement est basé sur des cotisations des salariés et des employeurs. Donc, la réforme de la sécurité sociale constitue une priorité nationale dans le plan de développement, et surtout en raison des difficultés grandissantes en matière de financement des caisses de sécurité sociale dues à des facteurs tels que les mutations démographiques, le facteur économique ainsi que les éléments paramétriques des régimes de retraite. Une autre réforme qui a été engagée et qui est tout aussi importante, c'est la réforme des programmes d'assistance sociale. L'objectif de cette réforme est d'améliorer le ciblage et l'efficacité des programmes d'aide sociale qui sont destinés aux populations pauvres et à revenus limités. Enfin, nous ouvrons aussi pour la mise en place d'une stratégie nationale de lutte contre la pauvreté d'insertion sociale. Et là, l'approche, c'est une approche multidimensionnelle. Donc, on veut attaquer la pauvreté, non pas du point de vue monétaire uniquement, mais comment améliorer l'accès des pauvres aux services de première nécessité et comment leur favoriser la facilité de cet accès. Concernant le socle national de protection sociale, donc c'est un projet sur lequel il y a un engagement politique fort, donc même par un consensus tripartite autour de cette question. Donc nous considérons que c'est un moyen irréversible de lutter contre l'extrême pauvreté. Donc les garanties sur lesquelles nous travaillons, c'est l'accès aux soins universels. Donc on a relevé que malgré les efforts entrepris par l'État pour assurer la couverture universelle, nous avons quand même à peu près 8,2% de la population qui ne bénéficie d'aucune couverture sanitaire. Donc, d'où ce travail d'envergure pour que cette couverture soit universelle et répondant à des critères d'accessibilité de qualité. On travaille également sur la garantie d'un revenu minimum pour ceux qui en sont dépourvus. Et la garantie d'un revenu pour les personnes âgées et les handicapés également. Demain et après-demain, on aura l'occasion d'en discuter pour mettre en place un revenu pour les enfants. Donc là, on est dans la phase de réflexion. Il y a des études de faisabilité pour les différentes garanties du socle. Nous travaillons avec le BIT et l'UNICEF pour ce qui est la garantie enfance. Et comme a dit ma collègue aussi, nous travaillons sur la faisabilité financière parce que la question de financement est très importante et comment garantir la pérennité du financement de cette protection sociale. Nous travaillons sur l'enfance, mais la faisabilité financière pour le programme de l'enfance pourra nous servir également pour les autres garanties du socle. Et je vous remercie.
If I can just follow up on, can you explain a bit more in terms of how the social protection system in Tunisia contributes to decent work and inclusive growth?
Oui, tout à fait. La méthode sur laquelle nous procédons actuellement, c'est de voir qui n'est pas inclus dans les systèmes actuels de protection sociale. Parce que nous travaillons sur l'inclusivité et cette démarche, c'est de voir un peu les gens qui ont du mal à accéder à cette protection sociale, dont notamment, par exemple, le secteur informel, les femmes rurales, donc qui travaillent, mais le système sur le plan légal existe, mais vu que dans le secteur rural, les revenus ne sont pas permanents et sont faibles, donc il y a une difficulté à intégrer le régime de sécurité sociale. Donc nous travaillons pour mettre en place un système de protection sociale qui soit, disons, attractif et qui tienne en considération les capacités contributives des femmes rurales. Donc nous travaillons sur cette question. Également, dans la loi de finances de 2019, nous avons proposé de mettre un taux de cotisation qui n'est pas très élevé, de 6,7%, pour ainsi inciter le secteur informel à accéder à la protection sociale et partant de là à avoir un travail, donc être couvert, donc un travail décent, ce qui va contribuer au développement économique du pays, bien sûr. Et comme je vous l'ai dit, par rapport aux populations pauvres, la nouvelle démarche, c'est de voir un peu comment ces familles ne restent pas tout le temps dans la pauvreté. Il faut investir pour qu'ils sortent de cette pauvreté. Donc, c'est pour ça que nous travaillons sur le programme de lutte contre la pauvreté et l'inclusion sociale. Donc, la composante inclusion est très importante. Voir dans ces familles, on travaille sur un modèle de vie pour chaque ménage pour voir un peu comment le faire sortir de la pauvreté, soit en jouant sur la protection sociale des enfants, soit sur les personnes qui sont capables de travailler pour enfin qu'ils sortent un peu du cercle vicieux de la pauvreté et qu'ils aient une protection sociale, disons, adéquate et décente. Globalement, c'est ça.
Thank you very much. We still have a few minutes, 15 minutes for questions from the audience, and so I'll open it up. Right there.
Okay, thank you very much. My name is Marvi Maiman, and I'm the CEO of Lifelong Learners Consultancy. I'm the former chairperson of Benazir Income Support Program, Minister for Social Safety earlier. My question really is about the main issue that we're discussing throughout this morning, which is 60% of the informal economy, which doesn't have access to social protection. Now, the way I, as chairperson and former minister, and we in Pakistan dealt with it, I think was the National Socio-Economic Registry. When you register la plupart des gens, most of your population, then you're better able to capture that informal economy and have data on it. We were speaking about the lack of data. So I think investments need to be made by governments in that. I've seen that we in Pakistan made that investment and it paid off exceptionally well. My second point, because I'm a practitioner, I'm a politician, and I'm speaking out of pure experience, is the following, and I'm sure the panel which is sitting there is going to perhaps agree or disagree. There is a problem. We all have constitutions. We all have articles within constitutions which guarantee us this. We all have international obligations, but we also have elections, and we also have change of governments. So we normally have a two-step forward, one-step backward approach, or vice versa, or whatever. We need to deal with that, and we need to ensure that when changes of government happen, those international obligations are super supreme, and they make sure that there's no backwards happening for the sake of change of governments. Those are comments. I'd like some response on that, please. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much for that question. Who would like to respond to that? So the importance of social registries and essentially the issue of political economy of social protection in maintaining over changes in government. Who would like to take that on? Minister?
Thank you very much. Just starting on the issue of data. As South Africa, we come from that past where we were not able to collect or collate and have proper data. But I am proud to say today, we work on the basis of data in various areas. If we talk, for instance, about our social grants, the access to social grant, we have about 17.4 million people. So that's what helps us to plan, because without a proper data on any issue, you will not be able to plan. So our data system might have challenges, but we are moving in the right direction. We also have Stats South Africa, which tends to be our institution which collects data on a regular basis, which it informs what we are doing as a country. So that helps us in being able to plan properly. When you look at, when we talk about access to schooling, for instance, I'll make an example. Last year we had about 300,000 young people who had access to grade 12. So that data helps us to plan, but also being able to say how many have passed, how many are going to university or tertiary education, and how many will go to your technical colleges. When I talk about the issue of second chance, it also helps us to say how many young people have dropped out from school, especially the girl child, and how many must go back to school to advance their education for them to prepare them for the future. So I think the issue of data is very, very critical, including access to jobs, access to the economy. We are able to say, for instance, as a country, we have a population, or we are a population of 43% being young people. That's a reflection that data helps us in our planning as we plan for the economy and plan to move forward. The issue of the Constitution, I must say, it becomes a critical document for any country because it's a document which you don't wake up every morning and change it. It defines your country. Therefore, maybe in other countries it's different, but for us it's very, very important because our fundamentals, our policies, and everything we do is enshrined in the Constitution. It becomes the base document for moving forward. The last point on elections and changes, maybe because we're a new democracy, we still have to confront the situation of changes in government by various political parties. For the past 25 years, we had an administration led by the ANC government. So we have not experienced changes on the basis of change of administration, like we can see now in America. As you change administration, then major changes happen. We still find ourselves in a space whereby there tend to be consistency in our policies as we move forward. So we have not been affected by change of, I don't want to say change of governments, change of administration, because change of government is different. But change of administration tends to contribute, but we are still fortunate. We have not gone through change of administration because the same party still rules even today. Thank you.
Thank you. Would anyone else like to say something about this? Would you?
Juste pour la question des bases de données, c'est vrai, c'est très important. Nous, en Tunisie, on est en train de mettre en place une banque de données sur les familles pauvres et revenus limités et qui vont concerner à peu près 30% de la population. Et on sait que dedans, il y a probablement des personnes qui ont des capacités contributives et qui sont dans l'informel. Et c'est là qu'on va travailler pour un peu les faire basculer du système informel, du système non contributif vers le système contributif. Une autre activité sur laquelle nous travaillons, c'est la mise en place d'un identifiant social unique. Cet identifiant va permettre de faire des recoupements entre les différentes bases de données du ministère des Affaires sociales, c'est-à-dire entre les fichiers des caisses de sécurité sociale et la base de données des familles, du système assistentiel, et pour voir un peu s'il n'y a pas des doubles emplois, pour faire des recoupements nécessaires. Donc là, je partage l'importance des bases de données. Ils vont aider à la prise de décision et à mettre les programmes les mieux adaptés. Merci.
Thank you. Ms. Mbaka?
Thank you. I think I would want to confirm that social protection programs are very political programs, are very political. And chances of having successive governments overturning things are actually very high. And the only way forward then is to ensure that when we initiate social protection programs, then they are entrenched in various policies and in various laws. As a country, we have developed what we call the single registry, which is a central repository of data on all programs on social protection. Currently is hosting data on the cash transfer programs, and moving forward, we would want to see other pillars included, and that is the social security and social health insurance. At the same time, we have just entered into a contract with the World Bank where we are going to create a social registry within the single registry, which will map all the poor persons, their characteristics, so that anybody wishing to start social protection programs for the poor, they are easily identified within the social registry. You don't have to go looking for them, but they are already known. And that will make it very easy for various organizations wanting to start social protection programs.
Great, thank you. I had two questions. They had the advantage of being up here front that caught my eye already, no? So I have two questions and then we'll get a response. Yes, ma'am, please, first.
Merci beaucoup. Je voudrais juste apporter ma contribution du Sénégal, puisque, comme viennent de le dire les ministres, pour permettre de maintenir les acquis que les autres gouvernements ont pu mettre en place, effectivement, il faudra institutionnaliser certaines bases de données. Comme elles viennent de le dire, nous avons aussi mis en place le registre national unique, qui est un registre qui intègre les ménages pauvres, les ménages vulnérables. Et chez nous, au Sénégal, nous sommes à un nombre de 548 000 ménages qui sont dans cette base de données. Et c'est l'Agence démographique et de la statistique qui a permis la mise en place de ces bases de données. Et l'institutionnalisation permet aujourd'hui de pouvoir garder les acquis pour que notre gouvernement qui viendra aussi ne pourra pas changer les acquis qui sont déjà pu être réalisés. Donc, c'est vous dire que la protection sociale, pour qu'on puisse aller toujours de l'avant, effectivement, il faudra sécuriser pour que les autres qui viennent ne puissent pas changer les programmes qui étaient déjà établis par le régime précédent. Je vous remercie.
Thank you. Yes, the gentleman behind.
Yes, thank you very much. My name is Bart. I work for World Solidarity. It's a civil society organization linked to the labor movement in Belgium and a member of the Global Coalition for Social Protection Floors. Thank you for the different interventions and some of the concrete examples of your government to roll out universal social protection programs. Now, my question was more specifically for Ms. Mbaka. I was really delighted to hear how Kenya has really tried to move forward with rolling out universal social protection. You gave various examples of different programs, some contributory, sometimes non-contributory. My first question was, have you also as a government managed to bring them together in an overarching national social protection strategy to avoid fragmentation of different programs? But is there indeed an overarching strategy on social protection? Secondly, towards the end, you said moving forward, we want to see citizens now also contributing, for example, towards their pensions. The government would then top up these different amounts. Now, such a move, I think, would really require broad-based support in Kenyan society to allow for a maximum number of people to participate in such a contributory scheme. Now, to generate that broad-based support, are you launching a public debate? Are you working with social partners and perhaps also other civil society organizations that often have experiences in developing and managing such contributory schemes? Voilà.
Thank you. That question is for you. You want to...
What I would want to say as far as the overarching strategy is concerned, per se we do not have an overarching strategy. However, we have a national steering committee that is made up of government, civil society, and other development partners that is able to chart in a very strategic way on the direction we should be making as a country on social protection programs. But we have plans to come up with a social protection strategy that can guide us very well on how we want to move. On citizens' contribution, as I said, these are just very initial discussions. And what we would want to do is to use technology to see how citizens can be able to contribute and have a system that is very easy for them to be able to contribute. But as I said, we've not reached there, but those are our thoughts. Yeah.
Great, thank you. I think we have time for just one more comment. There was a woman of the yes, thank you, please.
Thank you. This is Usha from UNICEF Nepal. Couple of questions. One very quick one is, we're talking about citizens' rights to social protection in various countries which are represented in the panel. And thanks for sharing that. But is there a vision inside the country for extending that to non-citizens, especially for migrants, for refugees? And I think all the countries which are there, except for Mongolia, would have those kind of challenges in some measure. The second question is about the quality of social protection, and that goes back to the point that Ms. Maha raised. You talked about attractive social protection. I really like that phrase, and which also is linked to, ultimately, to the graduation element of social protection that we haven't talked about. How are the countries ensuring that the social protection actually becomes effective, and how is financial sustainability being addressed within that?
Great, thank you. Would anyone like to briefly, quickly respond to those questions? Yes?
Merci pour votre question. Bon, la question des réfugiés et des... bon, la protection sociale, pour le moment, elle est accordée uniquement aux gens, aux Tunisiens, donc aux citoyens tunisiens. Mais par contre, pour ceux qui ont la résidence, ils peuvent bénéficier des programmes d'assistance sociale. Donc, on est en train de réfléchir à cette question sur un texte pour la question des réfugiés et qui quand même existent en Tunisie, mais on n'a pas encore, un projet de loi a été élaboré, mais il n'a pas encore été validé et adopté. Par rapport à la qualité des prestations, quand on parle de l'universalité, il y a l'universalité horizontale, mais aussi l'universalité, il faut qu'il y ait un palier, un minimum de prestations qui sont servies à toutes les personnes. Par exemple, pour la question de la santé, on est en train de réfléchir pour un panier de soins universels qui soit le minimum que tout le monde puisse avoir, auquel ils peuvent avoir accédé. Donc, c'est dans ce sens qu'on parle de la qualité de la prestation, parce qu'il ne suffit pas de donner la couverture s'il y a le niveau de prestation est parfois très bas, et surtout pour la question de la santé, de donner des prestations qui sont très, très faibles. Donc la question de l'universalité n'aurait pas de sens. Dans un premier temps, d'accord, mais il faut que ce niveau augmente petit à petit, et pour monter, on travaille pour qu'on atteigne le deuxième niveau du socle de protection sociale, celle du système contributif. Donc on travaille dans les deux sens, dans le horizontal et vertical. Merci.
Great. Thank you very much. I guess we should bring this to a close since the time's up. Just to make two quick points. The first is I think we've had 4 examples of very strong commitments to universal social protection. These 4 countries truly are champions in that sense, and we've seen the constant efforts in all 4 countries to expand, to realize universal social protection progressively, and particularly to the challenges of reaching into rural areas in all 4 countries, and how to make sure this continues, and institutionally, the infrastructure as well. The second point I want to bring up, which was just touched on briefly, and that's really about the considerable effort that was put in, at least by the 2 countries that I have experience with, South Africa and Kenya, in terms of developing the evidence and showing the impact of social protection, which is really the merit of these two governments. And just to say that social protection in sub-Saharan Africa is probably the most studied, documented government program on Earth, and there's no doubts. The impact is clear, it's broad, it goes over a number of areas, and I think it's, I just want to recognize this commitment from the governments of the region to document that case. And so really it's a political issue, it's no longer an issue of showing impact. So with that, thank you very much to all four panelists, appreciate very much, and take a break, thanks.
Thank you. Thank you so much. So now we have the group photo. So it's in the colonnade, which is one stair down. So you just follow the flow, and you will find yourself on the group photo. And then after the group photo, we will have a coffee break, and we come back here at 11